Good afternoon and welcome to another Kerfuffle. There we are. Here with the wonderful doyens of property, Sally and Kate from Agent Rainmaker. Ladies, how the devil are you?
We're good. We're rocking and rolling. It's exciting, isn't it?
It is.
Just loving lockdown life, Simon. Just what can I say? Just
brilliant. Like in a prison.
Your face wasn't really backing up what your words were saying there, if I'm honest, Kate.
I just I'll be slightly sarcastic there. I think we've got to look at the benefits of it, but yeah, it's bloody hard. I must admit, I'm desperate to go for a pint and go to the pub, but you know, we'll get there. We will get there.
Soon. I'm not ready to deal with the lack of restaurants and bars that are open yet.
Oh.
But no, it is, isn't it? It's the cumulative effect, really, of it. Just want to get it behind. But all it's seemingly anyway, all good news, isn't it? All going in the right direction anyway. So let's fingers crossed that it's and we'll go from there. But what we're really keen to talk about today is we're really pleased to announce you guys onto the Kerfuffle platform. And we want to talk about what you guys are doing out there for agents day in, day out, because I think it's a pretty exciting story. And certainly whenever I've spoken to the people who do work with you, they get that same level of excitement that always makes me want to hang on to a company like yours with my coattails, because I don't actually do anything other than hang on to others' glory. So we were talking today, we were saying that when we get into the detail of it, we're going to talk about with a wonderful clickbaity title, how to increase the profit in your agency in just 3 simple steps. Well, let me tell you, I'm going to definitely complicate that.
There we go.
But no, we'll let that. But
I feel like we've been led into a trap, Sally. What do you think? I don't know.
Unwittingly, I should have done the full reveal we've been expecting you. Could we just give a bit of context and background? Obviously, pretending somebody stuck under a rock didn't know about you two. Would you mind just obviously give us the bit of background, and then we'll kick into what Agent Rainmaker is all about?
Sure. Well, here at Agent Rainmaker, what we do is we absolutely focus on growing your agency. So obviously been in the agents industry for 30 years. I recognize there was a massive lack of business coaching, as in specific growth coaching, marketing coaching, and profit coaching in the industry. There's lots of coaching around legislation and all that sort of thing, but there wasn't any coaching on how to grow your business. And I also recognize that people weren't talking to each other. So letting agents wouldn't talk to other letting agents, not truthfully anyway. They'd be like, how's business? Oh, it's fine, Sally. Oh, yeah, of course it is. Yeah. There was a lot of pomp and ceremony, but not a lot of networking. And so I wanted to change that. So 4 years ago, created Agent Rainmaker with one purpose, really, to bring the community together and to focus on how we can grow our businesses. And so we've spent the last 4 years constantly, I see ourselves as the R&D department out there looking for new strategies that other industries are using so that we can bring them back. We trial them, we test them, we coach them, we then put them out to the market. So we're here to help the industry. That's basically what we're here to do, to help them grow their businesses.
Yeah, fantastic. What a great way of summarising that there. And I think it's interesting what you say, isn't it? There's a few people out there focusing on this same area, but lettings has never had the same level of care and attention, has it? For maybe that's just the way it obviously was in the industry in general, wasn't it, for a number of years? Obviously,
it was always the sideshow, wasn't it? It was always sort of the poor man's estate agency, which it couldn't be further from the truth, really. And I think especially a year that we've been through now just shows how important that residual income is and how valuable lettings can be in a property business. It's crazy, and I think people are seeing that and are learning that and seeing the value in that all the time.
Yeah. I mean, even physically in a lot of estate agency branches, if you go back 10, 20 years ago, lettings was literally in the broom cupboard at the back, wasn't it? It was you do lettings, we're the important people, we do sales, we do lettings. But actually, I think many estate agents now are very happy they've got letting agent modules to their business, because you cannot be, and you know as well as I do, Simon, the value of any business is the residual income.
Try and sell your business without a rent roll.
Exactly. So it is the heart and soul of a good side, the estate agency business or letting agency business. But even now, Simon, I cannot believe there's so many people with estate agency, letting agency businesses, and they don't pay any attention. I mean, one of the guys in our community that's generated 250,000 additional revenue to his business since August was exactly that. He'd got a letting agency, and he was just like, I don't want to know about it. It's just a pain in the backside. I'm just not interested in it. We're like, look at it. And actually, it was actually his business partner that signed him up to come and do some stuff with us. He came and did some stuff with us, and he's now had $250,000 in revenue. He was like, Jesus, this thing's a gold mine. And we're like, yes, it is. And he's like, oh my God. And it's crazy. And that's why I use the terminology that most letting agents are sitting on a gold mine. Even if they don't even think of themselves as letting agents, they may be estate agents. They've got an opportunity there. And it's just about knowing what to do with it. But most are just doing what they've always done for the last 30 years. They've never really evolved that. They just collect the rents, they do the maintenance, they sort it out. They don't really do anything with it. But it's an absolute gold mine. So there's so much opportunity out there, Simon. It really is.
Familiarity as well, isn't it? So many business owners come from the sales side of the business. So you tend to, deviate to what you know, don't you, and expect there. And they're definitely, and then you saw a lot of the lettings specialists really staking a claim before this was, became popular. And then every recession comes round, of course. And as you said, it's the lettings department that's paying the wages. Again, people get a little bit more, and then they start thinking about exits. And of course, that's where a lot of the value comes from. So there is now obviously, there's an awareness for most agents that they need to have a strong, viable lettings department rather than go, as you were saying before, intimating, go and talk to Doreen upstairs if you want to talk lettings or whatever. But they are getting, I think that the wonderful thing is, though, that we're kind of past that Rubicon, aren't we? People are aware now, and okay, they may not have the skill sets themselves, but once they concentrate on that side of the business, give that level, the lettings director, the behest to grow the business, they've got support groups like yourselves that can really help them where there wasn't that much before.
I think seeing it as a business is important, isn't it? Seeing it as a business that can be grown and that's valuable and that can be attacked, like just with the same sort of strategies or anything that any other side of the business would have. I think it's so easy to fall into just, it's customer service and we're just filling a role and that kind of thing. We're actually looking at expanding and growing and seeing it as a really valuable business tool is something that a lot of, well, certainly the people who've been through our rooms and we've worked with have gone on to achieve huge things from.
I think that's the actual difference between estate agencies and the letting agencies. Usually people that run estate agencies are very salesy. Usually people that run letting agencies are very service orientated. And so they're very good at looking after people and doing a great job on the lettings, but they're not quite so good generally, this is the practitioners, they're not that good generally of actually driving marketing, sales, lead generation, adding value, all that sort of stuff, because that's not their language. Their language is service the customer and look after the customer.
And so, exceptional process as well, aren't they? By definition, to get a property management department firing, you've got to have process in place to make that work.
You have, and a letting agent is traditionally very good at processes, systems, understanding the 170 pieces of legislation and getting down into the detail of subsection 2.4 of the Housing Act 2004 states that. All right, but they're not very good at getting out there and driving leads and driving landlords. And so quite common, you'll hear them say there's no landlords out there, there's not enough business out there. But I'll give you another example. Sharon Penluna, a lady who, again, we've been working with for the last couple of months, she set up an automated marketing funnel that we helped her set up 2 weeks ago. And in the first 5 days, she generated 70 landlord leads in 5 days. And yet the perception is there's no landlords out there. There is. They're out there. You just need to do something different other than leaflets, void letters, hitting the phones. You just need to do something different.
Oh, sorry, how many did you say? 70?
70 in 5 days.
So your pitch then, whereas mine was just, you just need one listing to pay for this. It's like you've got
you got your choice, mate.
You pay for the next 7 years or whatever else. And just talk us through, because obviously a huge part, obviously, I feel for you, as many people shed a tear for me having physical events taken away from us. I would be very vocal about my excitement for conference season and all it's like. How have you had to adapt and pivot that? I did. You were kind enough to invite me on one of your first conferences, and for me, actually, we didn't discuss this prior, but it genuinely was the first one I felt delivered on a digital format. There was a lot that was just kind of, going for a kind of a Zoomy approach, and I don't think that really works, does it? But you really thought about that, and that felt like this was how actually. Future events would go anyway. There would be much more of a hybrid in terms of the physical and the digital.
trying to create that live experience, but using online. And so you can't just use Zoom. You've got to have a stage, you've got to have a networking area, you've got to have the area where they can meet suppliers, you've got to have that whole community. People want to be able to chat, they want to be able to ask questions. And so the way we thought about it was, so we want people to be speaking on stage, like yourself, Simon, but then, you know, when you're at an event and you want to run outside and meet the speaker and catch them for 5 minutes before they go, we wanted to create that environment. So we created the catch-up room, and then we created the breakout rooms and the living rooms where people go and sit and meet and talk and chat. So it's about creating those two things. But I'll let Kate answer the question of how have we coped with
well, I mean, as you felt, Simon, having the pubs and the restaurants taken away from you as an events company, which, you know, we essentially were still are 12 months ago. It was like, right, okay then. So we got some pivoting to do, and you, as you quite rightly say, the Pivot Summit was what we did last May, and it was fantastic because we had 24 speakers from 5 different countries in 7 different time zones. I mean, it was just insane. But the idea with us at Agent Rainmaker is that we're not just, you know, trainers and on Zoom and doing sort of, you know, learning step-by-step webinars. We encase so much more. And in order to be able to translate that digitally, it's like Sally said, there's so many different layers to what we did. So we've been delivering all of our events digitally for the last 12 months and incredibly successfully. And a lot of the success stories that we look at now from the last 12 months have been from people that we don't know whether they have a bottom half to their body, quite frankly.
A lot have come from that summit as well. I mean, that summit,
yes.
We did that summit, Simon. We didn't make a single penny from that summit. No. We did it purely for charity. So every single penny went to Promise Dreams charity to give last minute dreams to terminally ill children. So we didn't make a single penny, but there's been so many success stories about people launching massive podcasts, people getting really huge results from LinkedIn and funnel marketing and things like that. Honestly, it was such an event. It was amazing because the thing we wanted from that event is what's new now. What do we need to do now? It's called the Pivot Summit because it's like, what do we need to do now? Okay, the stuff we did last week doesn't work anymore. What do we do now? And that's what I think the number one thing that we do, and as Kate says, embraces many things, is we're always looking for what's new. I spend so much time talking to Americans, Australians, people in Norway, people all over the world saying, what are you doing to market your business? And so when we had to run a digital event, I had this whole network of people that were already doing this anyway. So I just copied a few of them. And it's about looking all the time of what's going on out there, saying, how can we do that in our industry? And it works. And we're in an R&D phase as an industry. The whole world is, and we're no exception. We're in a phase, Simon, where we've got to look for new, look for different, look for what works. We can't go and knock on doors anymore. You know, we can't even meet our tenants face to face anymore. We just can't do all those things. We can't even really meet our staff and have good old, you know, fun times anymore like we used to have to build that rapport. So we've got to find new ways to do everything. Yeah. And we to be fair, do you know what? We have really enjoyed it. It's been horrendous. Yeah. Losing all those events, having to not run Agent Rainmaker Live last year personally killed me and Kate. You know, it's just like we'd so missed it. There's been that part of it. But I've enjoyed the evolution of it, as in the way we've had to adapt and the discovery and the research and the new things. It's really made us step up a gear, I think. And
I think the industry as a whole, I mean, this industry, we always talk about how, you know, sort of stoic the property industry's been. They're getting hit from all sides, and this was no different. But I think, you know, just as we're quite proud with the way that we've sort of moved forward and pivoted and kind of, you know, embraced the new world and especially technology, I think the industry as a whole has done that, because I think they were probably about 10 years behind where they needed to be, certainly in terms of prop tech and marketing and all of that kind of thing. And it's taken a global pandemic to sort of push many agents into where they actually need to be. And I think as people sort of leveled up to that, the way that we can deliver and connect and the way people are learning and embracing has kind of, we're all on the same page now. Do you know what I mean? I mean, here we are doing a webinar to your platform of people, you know, in StreamYard, which is going to, you know, 75 different locations where people are watching and learning and consuming, because that's where we all are as a world now. I mean, for that to happen in 12 months, it's just crazy, isn't it?
Yes, I think what I really like about it is, you know, I struggle with this, and I quote it myself, by the way, loads of times, you know, about how we've always been threatened with disruption, aren't we, in property? There's going to be this tidal wave of change, and it never really seems to happen. And we do say, obviously, it's, you know, we're 5 years behind, 10 years behind elsewhere, but it's not like a home without a comparable. I think it's really, really difficult to say that, this job ever really can be done in a vastly different way. It's all very well getting your food delivered, isn't it? On kind of Uber, but the service, yes, you can do things like virtual viewings and everything else and use digital tools there, but there are elements of this job that are face-to-face by definition, aren't they? So, but I think what you do great, and the likes of Peter Knight, are you do genuinely look at what's happening out there successfully already. So this isn't all the jetpack stuff that never seems to arrive, but look is what's working in other industries and then localizing that and making it relevant. Because I think we all know it's actually difficult to adopt change. Change can be a bit painful, and you lessen that fear of change, which is really important.
Yeah, and we lessen that by, first of all, trialing it, either ourselves or our high-level people. We then get our ARX members. We run a 12-month mastermind, and so they're the next people that trial stuff. And so we have so many case studies and test studies by the time we actually talk about it and put it out there. And I think it's that, oh, they've done it, which gives you the belief to then do it. It's like the 4-minute mile. Before it was done, you would spontaneously combust someone if you ran a 4-minute mile. But as soon as it was done,
well, he would, I think.
Yeah, I think I probably still would. That's what they said, wasn't it? But as soon as one person done it, then everybody started doing it because the belief was there. And I think, ourselves, Peter Knight and people like that, we trial, we get it out there, we get it tested, we get it proven, we get results and say, there you go and do it. And there's like an evolution of this stuff. We put it out there, a few people test it, we put it out there, other people start doing it, and then everybody else starts talking about it. So it just is this evolution of it, and then it becomes normal.
It stops it being ivory tower. It's not ivory tower there. And this is where I do think, okay, maybe there's some areas they are behind, but there's nothing like that keeping up with the Joneses. Once an agent sees technology that is working, they are very fast to adopt it, aren't they? I think about as adaptable an industry as you will ever find. So that's why if you have the gumption to get out there and try something and it does work, really is going to impress your members, isn't it?
It is. There's also an evolution as well. Just over 12 months, so about 14 months ago, we started talking about funnel marketing to the industry. And we got a lot of backlash, didn't we, Kate? We got people saying, what the funnel? Oh, it's just generating loads of rubbish leads that no one will. It's just, honestly, the amount of backlash we had. But what's happened as a result of that, so many people are now launching funnels and they're automating their marketing at the front end, which means they don't have to hit the phone, send void letters, leaflets, cold calling, that sort of stuff. They're automating it. But it's created a whole new load of problems. So the new problems are, instead of having 20 landlords to speak to in a month, you've now got, if you look at our Wolverhampton branch, 650 in a month.
It's lead management, isn't it? It becomes hot leads, and how do we deal with them?
You've got to identify the hot leads from the not leads. So you've got 650, but there's probably only 60 really good ones in there. The other 590 are ones that need to be nurtured, kept warm, keep in contact with, all those sort of things. And letting agents, what we've discovered in the last 40 months is they don't have databases. They don't nurture them with emails. The staff haven't got time or don't do it or don't know how to speak to the people on the database. And so it created a whole new raft of problems. And one of the things that we're seeing a lot of people do now, Simon, is actually outsourcing. And actually, we, for example, we have a team of Filipino workers, and what they do is they actually nurture the leads and pop the good ones out to the agency. So it's a whole new thing.
Just to clarify, and you wouldn't get this on Watkins' show, this isn't that you've got a load of Filipinos working for you in the UK. You've got a Filipino hub, haven't you? Over there,
yeah, not here.
I just thought you really liked Filipinos or something like that.
No. We've actually, So what they're doing is they're sifting through. They're sifting through. They're nurturing. They're popping out. So the agency, and this is one of the things, Simon, I think is really important. As we've got ROPA coming, regulation of property agents, for those that don't know. So we're going to have to be really, really good at staff management and training, recruitment, and all that sort of thing. And I don't want to get boring on you here and talk about legislation. That's not what we're here to do. But the staff are going to be so high, they're going to be much higher value, if you know what I mean. They're going to be qualified, highly trained, whatever. You don't want them sitting there going like this all day. And so we've got to, as an industry, identify new ways of dealing with the mundane tasks so that our high-paid, qualified expert members of staff can deal with the valuable things. And I think I think it's a new evolution. I think things are changing. I can see a massive change.
I think as well that it's people's perception of what a good lead is anymore, because I think, you know, certainly from days when I first started an agency, you know, the phone used to ring and a landlord would be on the end of the phone saying, "Hi, I'd like you to let my property, please." I mean, you'd fall off your chair now if that happened in a branch. It just doesn't happen anymore. So I think it's also looking at and re-educating people about what the quality of leads are and how many touch points you need to get before you convert them. I mean, I think I read somewhere that it's 80% of sales are made on the 5th to the 12th contact of a customer. I mean, 80%, that's huge. So are we touching base with people, you know, between 5 and 12 times? And I know that isn't happening working with people in branches. You know, oh yeah, those leads are crap, they're rubbish, yeah, they got nothing. They probably got one call and a voicemail and that's it.
It's the oldest stick in the book, isn't it? Excuse. Oh, they're tire kickers. They're tire kickers. You know, they're definitely going to be tire kickers if you don't actually talk to them.
Absolutely. And I think that it's just educating the people, you know, and the staff, not just the business owners, the staff as well.
It's a different conversations as well, Kate, isn't it? 'Cause I know you do a lot of training on conversion conversations because, as I say, for probably 25 years of my agency life, is you want a free valuation. Do you want a free valuation? Do you want a free valuation? I mean, like,
game's up, guys. We know it's free. It's always free.
Yeah. Right, whatever. But anyway, now we've actually got different landlord avatars. You see, if you think about it, you've got landlords that are would-be landlords that haven't bought yet. You've got landlords that are investor landlords that do it themselves, don't need agents. You've got the old-fashioned let-only landlords that just use the agent for letting the property and moving on, and you've got the fully managed accidental landlords, part-time landlords, etc., etc. You've got a whole different avatar, and so you actually need different marketing strategies and techniques to reach the would-be landlords and to reach the investors. They know everything. They don't need us landlords. You need different language, and so most agency staff, in my experience, are just trying to go, do you want a free valuation? No, they're not interested. Have you got anybody else? It's having those conversion conversations. One of the things that we're using a lot at the moment is messenger chat. Great way of getting landlord valuation. So it's new technology mixed with new conversations. And honestly, they're out there. You just can't rely on what you used to rely on anymore.
Can I just ask you specifically on that? So one of the biggest, I mean, what we're talking about there in marketing terms is segmentation, isn't it? Identifying, as you said, kind of the avatar and the personality type. But one of the biggest challenges, a lot of people buy into that, and they look at systems like Brief Your Market, nurturing systems, and they're full of energy and excitement, and you know, they have the logic from day one. And the first newsletter goes out with 40 articles in. 2 weeks later, it goes out with 20 articles, and by the end of the month, you're asking the staff if they've got any pet stories or something like that. It's really hard to keep creating that level of content, isn't it? To power the content engine that you need to have. So what is, just on a very top level, how do you address that? Is that something you can help people out with content?
Yeah, we actually coach something called the Never Ending Content Creator, which is basically I don't know, it's about an hour, 40 minutes. I'm tempted to say 40 minutes, but let's say an hour. Basically what we do is we get them to write down, we show them like a template, and they have to fill in the blanks, and they go down it. And the most we've ever had in I say about an hour was about 450 headlines for content. So ideas for content. Yeah. And the thing is, all this is in your head. It's there already. But what they try and do is I'll give an example. You say to someone, can you write me an article to go and think? They'll write about lettings. Everything you need to know about lettings. First thing, this, then referencing and stuff. And you go, right, can you write me an article too? Well, I've written everything. And I say, well, you've put 20 years of experience in 800 words, then have you? And I go, yes, this is an actual conversation I had, by the way, with Dawn Bennett when she wrote me. I said, don't be ridiculous. So basically, if you want a very quick top tip, take your headline. What do you do? Sales, lettings, management. Right. Yeah. Break sales down. What do you do in sales? Into 5 things. And then break those into 5 things. Then break those down to 5. And just keep going. And you'll end up with about 400, as many as you can keep going. You just keep going. I
think for me, the main thing is that people try to talk to everyone in anything that they're doing. And that's the real big mistake, because if you market to everyone, you're not actually marketing to anyone at all. So these newsletters that you say that go out, it's because they've got to talk to that avatar. They've got to talk to the investment landlord with the portfolio, and they've got to talk to the less only guy, and they've got to talk, because, oh my God, what if someone reads it and doesn't think that we do that? I'm going to miss out on that one sale. But actually, it doesn't work at all. At all.
Thank you, Kate. Josh Josh Fegan literally publicly takes the piss out of my emails, which he refuses to read now because I have a paranoia that I have left something out on everything I send. And so you're literally in a different time zone. Luckily, he is by the time you finish one of my War and Peace emails. But
it doesn't work, Simon. Stop doing it.
I can tell that from the open rates. It does not work.
Only sell one thing to one person at any time.
Talk to one person with whatever you're putting out there, and then you will not run out of content if you do that. I promise you.
Let me just say, I'm coming on your story, and maybe it's not the never ending; it's how to make the end story.
Yeah. That wasn't all for one blog, Simon. That was for 400.
Simon's never-ending story.
Anyone who's been stuck in a bar with me will know about that. But anyway, so just to put a bit of context, and I obviously want to talk about the actual events later on. We've got I was very excited seeing your launch last week, so we will definitely touch on that. Touch on that a little bit more, but let's just take it back to the 3 steps again here. So just to put a bit of structure around it, what would you then, how can you summarize what you feel then are the best 3 steps to help improve that profit?
I think absolutely the first thing you've got to do is automate your marketing. So the old days of void letters and leaflets and cold calling and those sort of things, yeah, they still work-ish. But, if you actually want to get leads on match, we call it avalanche marketing, and it literally is an avalanche. You switch the damn thing on and it's like whoosh. And then you've just got to figure out what to do with it. That's another problem for another day. But you need to automate your marketing now. We are in the 21st century. The technology has been there for a long time. We need to automate our marketing. And that way you can get rid of things like, I've got no one to ring. I found everybody. No one's interested. There's no landlords out there. You just have a new problem with what you say to who and how you're nurturing. So number 1 has got to be get your marketing automated. If you're not with the program on that one yet, then we have a problem, Houston, because somebody else in your town will be. And the way avalanche marketing works is basically data capture on steroids. So basically what will happen is someone in your town starts avalanche marketing before you. They will be getting 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 landlords every single month dropping onto their database. They will be talking to them. They will be calling them. They will be nurturing them. You won't.
And it's like a black hole, isn't it?
Yeah.
With so many things in life, once you get the attention first mover status there, it's very hard for anyone to step out from under the shadow.
Absolutely. And we've seen it so many with so different businesses that have hit the market, like Dyson and all those sort of things. It's just like once they're in, it's hard to capsulate. Yeah. So at your peril, ignore it. And I know people go, oh, but it's Sally, it's something new, it's a little bit challenging, a little bit harder. What else could you do in 3 hours that would give you 100 leads a week? What else could you do? If it took you 3 hours to set the thing up and it gave you 100 leads per week and you had to spend £5 a day on ads to get like 70 leads in 5 days, what else could you do? And they can't answer it.
Well, you said it yourself. It is, I think it should be at any time, but definitely going forwards. You've got to have the top earners doing the most dollar productive activities. That's just the most obvious statement of all, isn't it? And what could be more dollar productive than this?
Absolutely. And that brings me nicely on to point number 2, which is actually...
I set that up for you.
You did, because my second, and you don't even know what my point 2 is, but my point 2, because he did ask us before, guys who's watching, but we never sent him.
He's definitely forgotten it though, for sure.
My second point is basically using your time wisely, because our industry is full of practitioners. They tend to embrace getting on the tools and getting stuck in. The member of staff's off, I need to do their job. The phone's ringing, I need to answer it. I'm going to go in and sort the filing out, sort the keys out, sort the contracts out, all these 4 different things. But actually, you are the most expensive person in your business, or you should be. You should be earning more than anybody else. You're the one heavily invested in this. So it's valuing your time. And we've found, and all the success stories that we've had of all the people that we've helped generate 100K, $250,000, $500,000, $1 million. We've got one lady who just about to get to 4 million additional revenue. The number one thing they've done, Simon, out of everything else they've done, is this one thing. And it is absolutely saying, I am the key money maker here, and I've got to spend my time wisely. And so every hour, think, I've got to earn £250 every single hour I sit in this desk. What am I doing now? And is it making me 250 quid? If I'm not making 250 quid every single hour, then I'm not doing my job. And so I'm quite hard with people. I get some people say to me, oh, but Sally, I've been so busy and I had to sort out the keys. I go, how much did that cost you? Because let's just imagine you built another funnel that could have cost you 400 leads, which could have given you another 100 landlords. There's £100,000 those keys cost you. And let's have a look at how much prospecting you could have done, or joint ventures you could have done, or affiliate marketing you could have done that. That could have cost you another 50 grand. So fanning around with those keys has cost you 150,000. How do you feel about that?
This is where we play good cop, bad cop in what we do, Simon, you see, because she terrifies the living daylights out of them, and I go around going, it'll be okay, let's just do this.
I'm getting an inkling of what that feels like.
And Kate comes in and says, now what Sally's saying is...
What, she doesn't really mean it like that.
Because I absolutely get that. And one of the things that one of my old bosses said was, you know, it's very easy to be bad busy, isn't it? You know, you can be
busy fools.
In the old days, going from Hartlepool one day down to, you know, Taunton the next day or something else like that. That, you know, you could just fill your diary and never actually be thinking things through. And he said to me, if that meeting isn't going to make you, as you just said there, 250 quid or whatever else is there, is it essential for other reasons? Because if it isn't, you know, knock it out the diary.
Pass it on, get someone else to do it, outsource it, delegate it, train somebody else to do it. Just get it off your desk. Because the reason most businesses we're doing a series on Facebook Lives at the moment of taking people through the 8 stages of agency, because we've identified there's 8 stages of agency. Yeah. And what happens is people get stuck. So they get stuck at 60 properties, they get stuck at 120 properties, they get stuck at 250 properties, they get stuck at 500 properties, they get stuck. And what happens is they just get so consumed in the business, doing the stuff. And then we say to them, well, let go of that and grow your business. But they don't know what growing the business activity looks like. They don't know what it is. Just to give you a heads up, number 1, it's marketing. Number 2, it's sales. Number 3, it's operations. Number 4, it's understanding the finances. And number 5 is R&D. It's out there looking for what's new, change and evolution. And because they don't know what to do over there, they don't let go of this because it's safe and it's normal and it feels comfortable and it's okay and it's not stressful. There's no fear, there's no challenges, and so they just get stuck. They get comfortable.
But they don't value themselves either, and I think that's part of it, because it's like you said, Simon, about if I'm going to do that, is it going to make me 250 quid? Well, no. So then you say, okay, well, maybe you should outsource or hire someone else to be doing that lower level thing. But then it's quite, you're out there sort of, naked on your own with no expectations of, you're not busy doing that, you're not fanning around with the keys, and you're not taking the calls. And so now you've really only got to answer to yourself of what am I going to do in the next hour or day or week or whatever that's going to make a real impact. And it's like Sally says, the problem is a lot of people think, crap, what am I going to do? I better go back to being busy again, because at least then I sort of validate my own existence. Whereas they are so much more valuable, I think, in their own business that people give themselves credit for. And that's it is fear. It's fear and belief in oneself, isn't it?
It's scary to pick up the phone and talk to a competitor about possibly buying their business. It's scary to reach out to someone and say, hey, will you refer people to me? It's scary to organize a seminar or a webinar. It's scary to learn a new piece of software. People hate that for some reason. To learn a new bit of software that's going to really help their business, or to launch a fund. They're just scared of it, and so they don't do it. And one of the biggest sins is actually to outsource everything and then actually do nothing, because you actually need to be doing something if you want to be growing the business and changing the business. If you just want to keep the business ticking over, that's fine. But if you want to grow and you want to develop, use your time, because you are a killer asset. If you've got the business this far, you're good. Yeah. But you're not using that skill. You're now just becoming a £10 an hour task person, and that's not going to help anybody.
It's there's the one you'll be very familiar with as well, is the amount of people, whatever it is, either putting in place a process, implementing a new bit of software, and then you ask them how it's gone, and you go, oh, I wish we'd done it ages ago. And actually, business strategy could almost be dedicated to minimize the amount of times you're saying that as a business owner, isn't it? Because as you said there, most of the time, it's not always the case, but often that uncomfortable feeling does turn quite quickly actually into a real benefit, doesn't it?
And it's the times, and once you've got it embedded, it's the times. I mean, just imagine, using a funnel as an example, with Sharon, 70 leads in 5 days. What could she have done? It took her about, let's say, a day to put that funnel together. What could she have done for that day that would have generated that? What could you have done? And it's just like, but it's the choice. It's a choice of how you spend your time. And the difference between here and success is getting past that fear barrier.
Ladies, I absolutely love all the stuff that you do. You actually serve a vital place, I believe, in the industry here. And I encourage anybody to get in contact. I'm going to be doing one of those funnel workshops, because I love that. That is Whaley catnip. So once again, thank you very much. I look forward to being at the event as well, and even more to getting that, which is now a guarantee, a verbal contract, extra big bottle of champagne. Okay, Sally and Kate, thank you very much. Catch up with you soon.
Thank you, Simon.
Cheers, thanks.